Heidi ho to all my friendos. Welcome everybody to another episode of HomeKit Insider. You got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal and the new cold brew king. It is Steven Robles. How you doing, man? All hyped up on coffee today?
As always. I love coffee. You said Heidi ho. Is that a Home Improvement reference?
I don't know. It might be.
That was the first time I heard you say Heidi ho. So,
well, I was trying something new today, okay?
No, I like it. It's got a different energy, for sure. I like it.
Okay, good.
That means Heidi ho means a big news day. We'll say that because we have a ton of HomeKit releases and news, so we will get right to it. First of all, Leviton, brand who has previously made HomeKit products, and we actually had a listener question last time asking about Leviton switches. They released a bunch of new products from switchers and dimmers, and notably, these are all hubless, or they do not require a hub. You have dimmers for around $45, plugins, around $30 and such, so it looks like a great product. I see Leviton switches in a lot of commercial areas, like buildings or businesses. And if you were curious about the Leviton switches, here you go. You got a whole new lineup to choose from. They look pretty sweet.
I love that this happened right after we had our listener question on the same thing.
Right.
I think the big change here is, so these are all Wi-Fi connected devices. I think the biggest change is they now support like Google Assistant and the Amazon person thing. I'm not going to say it because all my stuff's going to go off in the background.
Okay.
But Amazon's Assistant natively with this new release. So I think that's one of the biggest changes here. I also really I was not that familiar with the Leviton lineup, but these companion switches are what really intrigued me, because you install your light switch, like a Leviton light switch, the Decora light switch with HomeKit and everything in your living room, but you want to have control on the other side of the room. These have the companion switch, which can just be mounted to your wall. You don't have to actually install, cut a hole and everything, and you just mount these, and those will control your lights in the room as well. So you can basically add that multi-point control with just stick-on light switches, which I really like. Plus, you have full HomeKit support. So again, I'll say it 5,000 times on the show, you need to have physical controls as well as the smart controls and automations. So yes. I love that they have that extra physical control for their devices.
Yes, very cool. Then Lutron, our friends, I have a ton of their switches. Their outdoor plug, the Lutron Caseta or Casita, I've heard it pronounced multiple ways. Their outdoor smart plug that is HomeKit compatible is now out. You can get it for $80, not inexpensive, but I have the Maris one that has the dual outlets, and I've had maybe inconsistent results. I know I had a lot of issues getting it actually connected because it has to be on the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, the device and the plug as you're setting it up. But if you want to try a different outdoor plug with HomeKit, the Lutron one is available on Amazon. It's taking a while to ship. Right now it says April 19th to May 1st that it would come out, shipping within a few weeks, but it's there if you'd like to try it out.
I've got this guy right now, and I really like it. It feels like a freaking brick. They have the your board on the inside, and they assemble it, and then they fill the cavity on the inside to make it completely solid state. So it feels hefty and strong and reliable. And this doesn't connect over Wi-Fi or anything. It connects over your Lutron network to your Caseta Smart Hub or whatever they call it, the bridge.
Yeah.
You even can pair it with a Pico remote, so you can have that physical control using those guys. So yes, you could have a HomeKit one, but I like having the pure Lutron setup. So you can mount this little Pico remote on your wall and have a physical switch to turn on and off your outdoor lights, as well as using HomeKit and all the automations that your heart desires.
Very cool. Now this next one is from a brand that I don't think we've even mentioned on the show before, but this is Name. I am assuming I'm pronouncing that close, but they made a premium wood edition of their speaker. This is a speaker powered with AirPlay 2, so you can use it with your iPhone, iPad devices, do the AirPlay 2 stuff. But man, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because it looks like you did a video review at one point of the non-wood version, and it seems like the speakers are similar. But this premium wood version is $2,290 for a single speaker, which seems rather expensive. But what is your experience with this speaker, and how does it sound?
These things are pretty incredible, and this is actually what I use. Well, I don't use the wood version. I have the regular Name Muso 2, And that is my main speaker in the studio, which is overkill for the studio. Okay, so get that right. But like I have my HomePods, and then this is like my big speaker and works with AirPlay too. I love them. And when you have one, you kind of see where the cost comes from. Now the wood edition is much more. Like the other one is still expensive. It's like $1,700.
Yes.
So the wood edition is above $200 or $2,000. So it's definitely more. But the regular one's a little bit less, and they have like I think it's called like the Cube or something like that. So they have an even smaller version of the Muso line. So if you want, or like the QB or something. So there's like a smaller one than the Muso 2, and then like the wood edition of the Muso 2. And they're super nice. Like the whole speaker is made of like stainless steel, I believe, or aluminum. Like it's metal. The whole thing is metal. There's like this really nice heat sink that goes down the back that looks really cool. The bottom is illuminated. Like it's got a piece of like clear acrylic that it essentially sits on, and there's like down facing LEDs on the inside that like illuminate that a little bit. You can change the color, and it's kind of like subtle, but it looks really sleek. And then there are swappable grills on the front, and the whole thing is huge. I mean, the standard Muso 2 in the Muso 2 wood edition is like 2.5 feet long or something, I'm guessing. I should just whip out the measure app on my phone and check it real quick, but it looks like it's roughly like 2.5 feet wide. So it's not like a small, speaker by any means, but these are clearly in the premium end of the market. They're very high end. They have a ton of like special abilities and stuff that they can do, including like their own multi-point setup, similar to like how Sonos has its multi-room setup features. It has its own kind of built-in stuff there where you could tie it into a bunch of its own, Muso speakers, or you can go the AirPlay route, which you can play to multiple speakers, multiple rooms that way too. But they're great speakers. They're very, very nice, beyond what a lot of people need. But if you're someone who really, really likes audio, then these may be something to check out.
So there's no voice assistant. So it's not
Correct.
like there's Alexa or anything built in for you to tell it to play anything. So you have to AirPlay something to it to do that. Mm-hmm. How is the sound compared to like a stereo pair of HomePods? Like, is it significantly better?
I think so.
Yeah.
I really prefer this sound over the regular HomePods. I don't really have a set of stereo HomePods I listen to on a regular basis, so I don't have like an immediate point of reference. But these are some of the best sounding speakers that I've played around with, enough that I have one here, that I own one.
Okay. So yeah, the non-wood version is $1,700. We'll put a link to the Amazon thing in show notes. But yeah, man.
No one can argue that these things look nice.
Yeah.
There's so many things that they've done that make them really sleek. Like I love even the physical controls. It's like that wheel on the top. It's a metal ring, and it's just like the perfect amount of tension as you rotate it to adjust the volume. It's got a little touch screen there to control playback and control inputs. You can assign like Spotify or Tidal or radio inputs, like to favorites, to like 5 favorites to jump between. Yeah, and you can stream a lot of sources to it directly. You can control it through the Muso app or whatever, or just go through AirPlay. The thing is awesome.
That's cool. And I could see, if you wanted a sound bar type thing, because it has AirPlay 2 and you have an Apple TV, I guess you could use it as like your home theater type speaker too. It doesn't seem to do like virtual surround or Dolby Atmos or anything, but I'm sure it would sound great watching stuff through it.
Yeah, it would still sound good. And the thing is wide enough that you're still going to have some stereo separation, I believe, on the left and right channels. It's really cool. And there's a lot of inputs to it. I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm not about to like go jump up and try to look at them, but there's quite a few inputs on the side hidden away too.
That's cool. All right. Well, Aqara, our friends, have added adaptive lighting to their light bulb. And so there'll be firmware updates to the Aqara hubs. Aqara devices do require a hub. And so that's where the update will be. And it brings adaptive lighting. And that's cool. I've been using adaptive lighting on a number of my Hue lights, and I enjoy it. So coming to Aqara. That's cool.
Yeah, and right now that is on... So in the US, you don't care because you only have the options for the standard, like the MS1 or M1S, the original
right.
Aqara hub. The MS1, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they will be bringing it to the M2 hub, like the second generation hub, later. I can't remember what they said, coming weeks or months or something like that. So it won't be too long before it comes to that one, but that right now isn't available in the US. That's still only available, I think, in China and a couple other regions outside of the US.
Now, Eve released a firmware update to the Eve Aqua. That's the outdoor screw it to your water hose type thing, irrigation device, and it updated it to include Thread. And I'm very curious about this because I have an Eve Aqua in my backyard, and I have historically needed the Eve Extend in order to have connectivity to that Eve Aqua in my backyard. But I also have a HomePod Mini very close-ish to that Eve Aqua, like on the other side of a wall. And so if I update the firmware, I'm curious whether or not that Thread connectivity is going to be enough and if I will no longer need the Eve Extend. But firmware update is available, and you can add Thread to your Eve Aqua. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, jump into the Eve app, free firmware update available now to all you people listening out there. And Steven, you're going to have to get back with us on whether or not you can ditch the Eve Extend.
Yes. Because it is like whenever that Eve Extend is unplugged for whatever reason, I do lose access to that Eve Aqua like immediately. So I will know for sure if it will work. Also, VocoLink, they're the company. They've made like contact sensors, and they have the like misters and oil diffusers. They're actually releasing a camera called the Opto. It is available in the EU store. It is not available in the US yet, but it looks like it will be coming soon. HomeKit secure video. It's only 1080. It's an indoor camera. It does have a USB-C port for power, which is nice instead of a micro USB. And right now in the EU store, it's for 48 euros. I'm not sure the conversion yet, but I assume it'll be somewhere between 40 and 60 US dollars when it comes. But nice to know that users will have another choice for inside HomeKit secure video cameras.
I like that you say it is only 1080p, as if HomeKit has any other option at this point.
Oh, that's
HomeKit
right.
is literally limited to 1080.
That is true.
While I do like my 2K and 4K Arlos, that does not show in HomeKit that way.
That's right. You know, WWDC was announced this past week, and we typically don't cover a lot of the main news, whatever, because we try to be HomeKit related. But as a want to be announced in WWDC, it would be great to see improvements made to HomeKit in general. One of those being resolutions for HomeKit secure video cameras, and also additional product categories and just improvements overall. So that'd be my wishes.
Steven, you've already stolen a topic. I wanted to use that as a...
Oh, sorry.
It cat's out of the bag. So look for another episode. We'll talk about what we want to see in HomeKit from DubDub. I was debating on doing it like this week, but then I looked at our thing. We've got 1,000 pieces of news and 30,000 listener questions. I was like, well, there's no point. We're not going to fit this in. We might as well fit it in closer to DubDub anyway. So we'll just wait until we get closer to June, and then we'll talk about some things that we hope maybe to see in HomeKit.
Yes. And final piece of news, this is a coming app. It's not available yet, but you can actually get into the test flight beta if you would like. But developer Aaron Pierce, who makes Home Plus and Home Cam and Home Pass, is coming out with a new app called Home Paper. And you put this in the show notes. Why don't you tell us about it, Andrew?
I am ridiculously excited about this. It is the smallest thing. I feel like I'd even be more excited had I not spent an inordinate amount of time creating my own flipping wallpapers. So here's the thing, guys. Inside the Home app, you only have options right now for a few gradients that Apple puts in. Like, they even removed the original ones that were in the Home app that I guess maybe were, I wouldn't really call them skeuomorphic, but they were legit photos of walls and things. And Apple stripped those out and they put in a bunch of gradients. And it's minimal effort for sure. And now people started, we talked about this on the show. A while ago, we actually did this on the show. We talked about how you could swap out those wallpapers and how we could create our own. So we shared a couple links of ones that we had found online that we loved. And I spent a ton of time taking photos of my different rooms and then creating my own gradient wallpapers. So what it looks like is you pick... Inside of the app, you pick two different colors, your top color and your bottom color. It creates a nice smooth gradient between those colors. And in the top right-hand corner, it decreases the opacity and puts in a black and white version of an image that you upload. So you choose, if you're taking a picture, if I'm in my studio, I may take a picture of my set, and then I can upload that. So I pick my top color, bottom color, and pick the image of the room, and it puts that little bit of you can see just a little bit of it in that top corner of the room, which when you're in the Home app, it makes sense because there's a lot of stuff going on in that top left-hand corner of the app, but the right corner is a little bit more open. So that's the idea. You look in your Home app, and now you can actually have really nice, pretty wallpapers that have your own gradients that are the correct size and that have your individual rooms that kind of match with them. I like it a ton. I've been using my own that I created, I think it was January or February. I think it was January actually, because I was recently looking through them, and I did that. And now here Aaron is out with his own fancy app, Home Paper, to kind of deal with that. So you can create your own awesome wallpapers for the home app and get something a little different. So this goes along with the rest of his great apps, Home Run and Home Cam. Yeah. I'm still waiting for Home Wall. He says it's still a thing, and Home Paper is going to go before Home Wall ever makes it out. But I really want that Home Wall app, which, if anyone hasn't heard of it, he kind of teased a little bit about it, but it's supposed to be an app that runs on your iPad or something to give you kind of like if you were using your iPad as a mounted display, kind of like a smart display, if Apple would ever make one, that would show all of your HomeKit stuff, like kind of like an overview of your house and control stuff. So I really want to see Home Wall, but I guess we're getting Home Paper first.
That's cool, though. And I have to give Aaron Pierce some credit. His design aesthetic for the app icons for his stuff, it's consistent, but they're also differentiated, and they look really good. So I'll put a link to his website as well, so you can get all the links. Unfortunately, I just went to the test flight page, and it says the beta is full.
You just crushed the dreams of millions of people.
I know.
Our millions of listeners are crushed right now because you told them they could join the beta.
You never know. Maybe somebody will drop out, so I'll keep the link in the show notes if you want to.
Yeah, it's worth it. He might. Aaron opens it up again in time to time. So I know when he originally was starting to doing this, he was like, "Oh, this might just be a thing for me. This might just be a thing for me to be able to create quick apps." And then he just threw a test flight out there, and I think he got enough response that he's going to actually legitimize it and release it. Right. Yeah, he created this just to solve a problem for himself. There's all those cool wallpapers out there, so why not make an app that kind of did it automatically for you, and he could do it straight on his phone. So I dig it.
Yeah. All right, well, our last piece of news, SwitchBot, our friends, we did the giveaway last week, and I believe that's running for a couple more days if you're listening to this episode the day it comes out. But they announced 2 products on Easter, and one was a contact sensor. This is a new product from SwitchBot, and also the SwitchBot motion sensor. So what's cool about the contact sensor is it is not only a contact sensor like normal, but it actually is also a light sensor. And so you can use that. You would have to do these in the SwitchBot app and integrate it with Siri shortcuts, as there is not HomeKit capability just yet. But from my experience using the SwitchBot devices, they really work great with Siri shortcuts. So you have this contact sensor that also has a light sensor, and they have a motion sensor. The motion sensor looks a lot like the Philips Hue one, kind of like that rounded corner square. But if you already have some SwitchBots, or maybe you win our giveaway, which we'll announce next time, and you wanted to pick up some of these products, you'll get these products in the giveaway. But maybe you're looking for some contact sensors, motion sensors. Those are available now, and I'll put the link to that in show notes as well. All right, well, I wanted to do a couple project updates for me. These aren't big projects, little things. One, my Eve weather came early, and so that was a fun surprise. Put that outside in my backyard, set it up. It did take a minute to connect. For some reason, I couldn't get connection right away in the Eve app. It just wasn't seeing it. And then after a little while, it connected fine, and it's great. And I can now, like you were saying, ask my HomePod what the temperature is in the backyard. It's in my backyard room. And you can ask the temperature, the humidity, and it tells you exactly what the Eve weather is reading. So that's very cool. And also, I had a question for you, as I'm starting a new thing in my home app now. But I decided to move some of my HomeKit products, like plugs and stuff like that, to my office that I have elsewhere, not in the home, but somewhere else. And I wanted to start adding some stuff there. And so I had not done a second home in my account or home app yet. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to break anything. I don't know the ramifications of this, but I'm going to try it. And so I actually added a new home. You can do this by going to the home app on your iPhone or iPad. I think you can do it on your Mac now too, but you can go to the home settings and add a home. I wish there was a different distinction that you could add. You can call it something different. You can title it, obviously. So you can title it office or workplace or whatever you want. But the designation when you create it is just add new home. And so I added a new home. And actually, because the death of the HomePod just hurt me so much, and I had some Best Buy reward certificates, I got a couple more HomePod minis to act as the home hubs in my office. So I got a stereo pair there. I added the home hubs, and then I moved an Eve, a plug over there, and a Wemo plug. And I was able to add the new home. That was pretty seamless. I added the HomePod minis first, so there would be a home hub there, and then added the plugs, and it seems to work great. Now, I wanted an automation that when I go to the office, my lamps turn on, and when I leave, they turn off. And what's interesting, when you have a second home in your home app, all the automations and stuff like that are totally separate. It is a total like walled garden, I guess you could say, your other home. So your homes, as far as I could tell, don't really talk to each other, which I don't know if you have experience with this, but my next question would be like, can I talk to my home pods in my actual house and control my office devices? But as far as automations and anything, it works just for that secondary home, which is my office. So I set one up that when I arrive, the lights turn on, and when I leave, the lights turn off. And that seems to be working great. And I can now add devices to my office, quote unquote, home, or my actual home where, I have all the other stuff. So it seems to be working good. See, it was pretty seamless. And so my question for you is that have you done that kind of secondary home? I know you did that air conditioner unit with your parents and stuff, but what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, I have, I think, 4 homes in my home app. So I have like our house here.
Whoa.
I have my wife's parents' house where we set up the AC unit and a couple of things like that. And then we have a secondary house that I somehow inadvertently created for our own house that has nothing in it. And then I created, or I'm like a guest or an owner or something of my parents' house. My dad is mostly using Alexa stuff for some weird reason. Oh, I said the word and she's yelling at me. He uses a lot of Amazon stuff, and he's got his like smart display and everything. So that most of their stuff isn't in HomeKit; it's all on the Amazon side of things or the smart thing stuff. He does a little bit with the smart things because my dad will program things. Like you walk up to the porch and you hear his voice like on the inside. There is motion on the front porch, and it's weird. But so yeah, he's got that going on over there. But he did have, I did install a Hunter fan and a couple other test stuff at his house that I had done for reviews. The Bond fan controller that I think works with Siri shortcuts perhaps. And then I did the Hunter ceiling fans. So when I was doing all those in HomeKit, we had set up a home on him and then he shared it with me. So I have a total 4 homes in the home app. And it's pretty seamless for the most part. Sometimes I get funky, trying to remember what the names are or really know, which seems weird. But I can't listen to them. I can't wait, what is this one again? And if they name it something, that it may not make sense if I'm shared on it. I don't know. I get a little confused on which house is which in there, and I really need to get rid of the second home that is ours. That is just for some reason got created. But I don't believe you can control things crossed homes. I can't ask my HomePod to control the AC at my parents-in-law's. I can only control stuff here in my house that HomePod is tied to. So I think you have to specify that. But there is, and I'm sure you saw this, there is auto switching, which is nice. So for your phone, it'll automatically show up, or when you're talking to Siri, it'll talk where you are, control where you are, and then as you switch locations, it'll automatically switch to that second home. So if I go to my parents' house, the home app and Siri's context switches to their house rather than our house. And if you go to the office, it could automatically switch its context to your office versus your home. And you can turn off that location switching, that auto location switching as well if you wanted to. That's generally the easiest way because it's wherever you are, you're controlling stuff. But then if you wanted to go back and look at something at your house while you're away, you have to manually switch it over.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting because I did see manually, you go into the home app, you can switch homes and control devices remotely, even if you're not in either location. But yeah, I guess that would make sense if you are talking to HomePods at your house, they're not registered to the other home. So I guess maybe they don't even see those devices.
I believe so.
Yeah, because I have a room in my house called Office, but then in my secondary home that I just created, I also have a room called Office. And so if I tell it, turn off the lights in the office, it's going to do it just for my house. It's not going to do it for both. Well, anyways, as I add some more devices into that office and experience that whole world, you said you have 4 homes. One is your parents'. What were the other 2 again, if you're willing to say?
I've got my house.
Yeah.
A second version of our house that I somehow accidentally created. Then my parents, and then my wife's parents.
So, and you can't delete that extra one?
No, I probably can, but I'm always I'm scared that I'm going to delete the wrong one because I think it has the same name. Oh. It literally, because it popped up the default name or something like that. And I was always I don't want to delete the wrong one on accident. It was my house or something they call it. And I think I changed ours to our house for my wife and I probably should have changed it to something more distinct so I am confidently deleting the one that's empty.
Right. Yeah, I would be a little gun shy about deleting a whole house.
I know,
for
that's
sure.
why it just stays there. Like, there's nothing in it, but I'm still like, I really don't want to screw this up.
Yeah. All right, before we get to listener questions, I had one last question going back to developer Aaron Pierce. He actually tweeted this question kind of asking his audience and followers, but with that new home paper app that's coming out, he asked about which business model he should go with. And I think this is an interesting question. Maybe not directly HomeKit related, but it's for a HomeKit app. So, by proxy. He was asking, should he charge 99 cents upfront for the new home paper app, or should it be free, maybe show ads in the app, and then a 99 cents in-app purchase to remove the ads? And people had some thoughts in his Twitter thread, but I'd be curious from you, Andrew, what you think. I know the barrier to entry is always important. People will download a free app just for the heck of it, even if they never open it. And so you at least have the chance of it getting on someone's phone and liking it. As far as profitability, I feel like if all the functionality is in the app, just ads versus no ads, you'd probably get a lot less revenue because people will just deal with the ads, because once you export a home wallpaper and you get your home app like you want, people are probably not going to be revisiting the app very often. So for revenue's sake, 99 cent upfront might be better. But I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
I don't know. I mean, the cost is essentially the same. You're paying $1 either way. I would lean towards, like you said, the upfront one. And then maybe because I like Aaron so much and I want to make sure that people are actually buying this. Because,
yeah,
like you said, people are going to download the app. They're going to create their wallpapers, and they may or may not just be done with the app at that point, unless they wanted to change it, change the room or something like that. But they're not going to be going back in there. So it's not like they're going to see those ads or like that frequently. Deal with them for like that one day as you create your wallpapers, and then
right.
toodaloo, you're good. So I feel like he would see very diminished returns on his in-app purchase in that case. If it was an app that you were using, on the reg, I could see it being maybe be more beneficial for users to like remove the ads just to not have to see them. But I think he would bring in more from the 99 cent upfront cost. I don't think that's bad. I think it's a great idea, and I think a lot of people would be willing to pay for that. But I don't know, for something that kind of started off as such like a random little side project for himself.
Yeah.
Not bad either way. It's not like he was going out with the intent to do some, huge sales from this simple little app.
Right, for sure. Very cool. Well, listeners, let us know. What would you do? Like, would you just buy an app like that for 99 cents? I hope most people would. I think especially the HomeKit community, like, I think there's an understanding of value. And you do have to, like, buy products to kind of be in the HomeKit world. So a 99 cent app is, pretty inexpensive compared to the rest of the HomeKit world of devices. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting question. All right, well, we have a bunch of listener questions we want to get to. First one was Angel. He was asking us about, again, the demise of the HomePod and what that means for HomeKit. And we kind of touched on this recently too, but, I do not see the death of the large HomePod as a sign of HomeKit going away. They did say they're going to, double down basically on HomePod Mini, which is a better home hub considering it has Thread built in anyway. The Apple TV is still a home hub, and there's lots of rumors of a new generation Apple TV coming soon. Apple is a part of the smart home consortium, which they announced a year or so ago, where they actually partnered with Google, Amazon, and Zigbee, and to get more compatible devices across those companies. And I think we'll be telling at WWDC how invested Apple is on HomeKit. Will we actually see a HomeKit segment where they maybe release new features or at least talk about it a little bit? I think that will be telling, and we'll really be able to know at that point, how heavy Apple is in the smart home deal. But I think they're all about it, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
No, he linked to an article that I think is a little bit on the fear-mongering side of like, since Apple killed the HomePod, how interested is Apple going to be in the home space? Will, this be enough to keep Apple working on smart home products? And just because the HomePod is dead does not mean HomeKit or anything like that is going anywhere. I mean, Apple, first off, the fact that Apple has specifically created HomeKit with the ability to not rely that much on developers for everything to run through the Home app. And, if a company ever goes under, your HomeKit products are still going to work. Like, they want that longevity there. So for Apple just all of a sudden say, oh yeah, we're going to nix that, seems more than improbable.
Yeah.
And like you said, they've been investing in so many things. Like we're seeing patents come out that are in the home space. We just got the HomePod Mini. It literally just came out with a bunch of new, with all the HomeKit support baked in. But last year, we saw a ton of new home features, including the stuff for the Apple TV and the doorbells. We're seeing more products launch than ever. We always have a crazy amount of news we've been covering in these shows. Like, it hasn't been slowing down at all. It just has continued to gain steam. So with HomePod going away, it's got nothing to do on the home side of things. I mean, it might even be more telling that Apple is doing well in the home space. The fact that they're so confident in the HomePod Mini. I mean, like I said, I know how many of these things I bought. I know how many you've gotten. I know a lot of the other people in the HomeKit space have bought 3, 4, 5 of these things. People are buying these a lot more than they're buying the standard size HomePod, and I think that gave Apple the confidence to nix the bigger HomePod and still commit to that home space. I mean, we just got Thread. There's so much still going on in home. It just continues to gain more steam, not going backwards.
Yeah. All right, this next question is from Steve. Not me, Steve. I didn't send this to ourselves. This is Steve, listener, wrote in. He had several questions. One, asking us to do kind of like a pros, cons of third-party home apps, and I'll comment on that in a moment. Second was comparing the Netatmo doorbell to the Logitech doorbell, which I think you've kind of done that in the past, but maybe give us a brief synopsis of that in a second.
Okay.
And also asked about motorized kits for plantation shutters, which, again, not my area of expertise, but give an answer for the, which pros and cons of the home apps and all that kind of stuff. Because you can manage your HomeKit devices from so many places, obviously you have Apple's first-party home app, you have the third-party home apps like Eve and Lutron, and you see a lot of your other home devices in those apps, the Eve one especially. And then you have the home apps like Home Plus 5 on it. It's on now by Aaron Pierce that we just mentioned. And, pros and cons, you can go in really deep on those, but I would recommend this. If you're going to try one third-party app to be your go-to home management thing, I would recommend Home Plus as the app you try. Because not only does it give you control of all your HomeKit devices, it has good compatibility with cameras and all that kind of stuff. The automations that we have people ask about a lot, especially, can I turn on a light and have it turn off after a certain amount of time? Those kind of automations, which are not available in the stock home app, you can do with Home Plus. And so I think for the power, the features, and it is easy to use. I mean, if you just want to open it up just to manually control your different HomeKit devices, it does that really well too. I would suggest if you can try any third-party app, try the Home Plus app for automation's sake, for ease of use, and just for value. I mean, it's just a great value for the power that app gives you over your home devices. But Andrew, what do you think? And then about those other questions too.
I honestly have both of these apps. I like Home Plus 5 quite a bit, and I use that a good amount. But I probably use the Eve app a little bit more. I don't know, for a few different reasons, partially because I do have quite a few Eve products. I'm already natively in the Eve app because it's the only place that you can do things such as view your historic data and your graphs for your Eve weather, or even the Eve contact sensors, anything that you've got that is Eve related, you can see that historic data. Eve Energy, you're getting your energy consumption, and that is funneled through the Eve app. So I'm already in there quite a bit to see those additional features, and it just kind of caused me to go a little bit more using them when I'm creating certain automations. But that said, when I don't see something in the Eve app, or if I want to do something especially complicated, I turn to Home Plus 5 because it is, I feel like, maybe the most robust of the third-party apps. So that'd probably be what I would lean to next. I see Eve is free, so essentially you're paying for Home Plus 5. So if it was me, I would buy Home Plus 5 and keep the Eve app, and then pick one that I like more for for just the interface and everything, and use that one, but then have your other one as a fallback if there's something that you can't figure out or want a little bit more control over something that maybe you're not seeing in the other one. Because I know both of them continue to add features that are unique. I think Home Plus 5 just added the backup options and stuff like that. You don't have those in the Eve app. So each of them kind of has their own stuff that they can do differently. So I would just stick with both of them. Hitting up the doorbell stuff super quick. The biggest thing here is your Netatmo one is going to have a higher upfront cost, but you don't have to, there's no HomeKit secure video, so you're not tied to that. So that's, I think, one of its, some people would call it a perk. If you don't want to be tied to HomeKit secure video, or you don't want to pay like the monthly fee associated with HomeKit Secure Video in your iCloud storage, or maybe you're someone like me and you have a lot of HomeKit devices and you already have 5 HomeKit Secure Video cameras and you want to do something on your doorbell and you want to be able to record, and you don't have to make the difficult decision of which cameras can record and which ones can't. So if you're in that boat, then Netatmo may be better because there's a physical SD card in there that you can save to. So that gives you like a local storage option that you can save your video to, and you don't have to rely on HomeKit Secure Video. Netatmo also has a lot of really nice smart features in there. I think their AI is better than Apple's is right now in its like detection of like its people detection. I think it has like package detection and stuff like that, and I think that is better than what we're seeing with Apple stuff right now. And when I say Apple stuff, I mean like the Logitech doorbell, because Logitech is using Apple stuff for everything because it's all through the Home app. So I think there's a little bit more control, a little more powerful features within Netatmo. But if you want something exclusively in HomeKit, no third-party apps, diddly, like you just want the most streamlined HomeKit experience, then that's the Logitech one. It's got the lower upfront cost and it supports HomeKit Secure Video and everything that goes with it. So that has a lot of benefits as well. They're both really solid products. The Netatmo, I think, is just a slightly more premium product. And I do believe they will be supporting HomeKit Secure Video. And I mean that, like, I actually truly believe it. I know for a fact that they've promised HomeKit Secure Video, and I believe that that is actually going to be coming soon rather than later. They've been working on it, but they are very meticulous, and they want to make sure everything is perfect before they roll it out. Like, their products are nice. I mean, if you hold it in your hand, like, it feels solid. It looks sleek. You've got that whole glass top there, the metal button on the bottom. I'm holding this in my hand right now. You guys can't see it. I'm waving at my mic. It's really nice. It feels like a very nice doorbell. It looks clean, modern. I love it. So both really nice. Netatmo, I think, is just a little bit more premium and has that higher upfront cost. And then quickly, after I Googled plantation shutters while you were talking, I don't know what a plantation shutter is.
Right.
I don't know what the names for these things are. It looks like there is an option out there, but it's not one that Steve wants to hear. I don't know anything that's going to like motorize existing plantation shutters, because for people who may not know what a plantation shutter is, they're like the slats, like the wooden slats, and there's like a bar in the center that you can like lift up and down to open and close them, essentially. For the life of me, I would not see where you would add a motor to an existing product. Like if you have these installed, I don't see how you are doing that. So what the option that's out there is through Hunter Douglas. They have their PowerView automation, which works with HomeKit, and I believe they have a plantation shutter in their PowerView line that has a motor in the frame and will automate your plantation shutters that way. So it would require you to swap your shutters, but there is an option out there that works natively with HomeKit, which is the PowerView automation line from Hunter Douglas.
All right. Well, John asked, he is building a new home, wants to use HomeKit devices throughout, but as anyone would expect, it can be pretty complicated with lighting fixtures and switches and colors, all the different technology stuff. So he is asking, is there a way to find a consultant who specializes in helping people or homeowners set up an array of HomeKit devices? Basically, I would assume just like build it out or make the suggestions or whatever. I mean, I have no idea about this. I know that there are some, contractors, and you might, if you look into more of like the security world, people who specialize in like security systems, that they might have some knowledge in HomeKit. But as far as I know, I'm not aware of like HomeKit consultants. I just feel like the world is not big enough. I mean, if you'd like to fly Andrew and I both to your house, so we'd love to meet you and provide you with a comprehensive list of things to get. But I don't know of any kind of service like this. How about you?
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is I take Apple Pay. So if John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt wants to just Apple Pay me, I'll tell you exactly what to get, no problem. But if you don't want to pay me, the other option is, and I've had this tab open, I'm pretty sure since CES when I heard about it, but there's this website called smarthomeneed.com. Stephen will throw it up in the show notes for y'all. And it's basically that. So you basically kind of tell the site what you need, what you're trying to do, and it'll give you your different options. So there's even like a huge product catalog, and you can filter them by your needs, by what the applications are, like energy and lighting, entertainment, security, stuff like that. And you can filter by your home ecosystem, so HomeKit. So going on there's like 56 HomeKit devices, and I could filter down by thermostats or security system, whatever it is that you would want to do. Now, that said, well, also there is a services tab where they say you can book a call for smart home consulting. Again, I'll do this, guys. Just Apple Pay me. My links are in the show notes. They do have like smart home consulting and life and business coaching for smart homes. So you could do it that way, and I'm sure they've got a cost associated with it, and they would help you go with that. All that said, like looking through their stuff, like 56 HomeKit products, and on top of that, where is that thing again? Home ecosystems. Looking at HomeKit, they have 56 products, and of those 56 products, some things are like iPads that are listed, like 7th gen iPad, 5th gen iPad mini, 3rd gen iPad Air.
Huh.
Like, okay, yes, those are HomeKit devices, and they've got like the Flower Bud and a few others, but there's so many more than 56. So while this is definitely going to be a helpful resource for people, there's more than 56 HomeKit devices.
Yeah.
They're listing less than that when they have like HomePods and iPads listed as the HomeKit compatible devices. So this may be more limited than it needs to be, but
sure.
They also have really cool pictures. Like they legit, like every single product, they have their own artwork associated with them.
Yeah.
Rather than like some stock images. So like there's clearly work that has gone into this service and everything. But I mean, I went through this whole list, and like there's only there's one LifeX bulb listed. I'm not even sure if I see. Oh yeah, they're there. There's like the Philips. Oh no, there's a couple more LifeX bulbs, but there's more than that available through LifeX. There's like 4, and there's also like one Philips Hue bulb listed. There's like 8,000 Hue bulbs. So there's a lot that's not here on this list, but I guess it's a good start for at least for some needs.
And obviously, this is not Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. This is Johnny Appleseed.
Okay.
It's Johnny Appleseed.
Well, he didn't put a last, middle, or second middle name, so I wasn't sure.
All right, well, maybe we have time for one-ish more. Maybe we can roll a couple of these security system things together. But Cameron was asking you about the Abode security system, and if you're able to arm a part of the system, such as like just the downstairs or a specific zone, to be active and not the whole house. And then someone else also asked about the compatibility with the Ring alarm system. And so, I don't know, maybe you could touch on both of those as we wrap up the questions.
So starting off with just the Abode part, yes, this is totally possible, not at all any issue. So there are like your basic modes of like a night mode or like a home mode, away mode, stuff like that. And you can set those through HomeKit, but there are further controls that you can set, or like automations you can set. So you can create your own like scenes where when this mode is enabled, these specific sensors are active, whether they be motion sensors, contact sensors, vibration sensors, or whatever else there is tied to your Abode system. So you can definitely set it up for, whatever time, nighttime or something, and you only have your ground floor or something turned on. So that's for sure something you can do. And then as far as tying in a smart lock into a Ring security system, there are ones that do this. The one that I am thinking of is the Yale Assure SL, I believe, off the top of my head. And I was like ready to be like, yes, this is the one. It'll work with the Ring stuff, I think, and it'll work with the HomeKit, because I know the Yale stuff works with HomeKit. But here's the asterisk. The Yale stuff, they use those different modules. So the back comes off and you can swap out the modules and you put in the module that you want to use. Do you want to use HomeKit? Okay, you put in the HomeKit module. Do you want to use Zigbee or something? Then you put in the Zigbee module. I don't think you can use the Yale Assure SL with HomeKit and Ring at the same time. I think you need a different module to use each of those functions, essentially. So it's a little bit of a bummer. I haven't really seen anything else that works with HomeKit and Ring. There are quite a few smart locks out there, but not that I've seen. Then again, I've been pretty anti-Ring in recent years, so I have not spent a lot of time in the space, because I usually just encourage people to drop their Ring for something else, which is a hard thing to do when you've already bought into an ecosystem and installed devices. So I guess that would be my main takeaway about that. And I guess I want to hit one more question real quick. So someone asked, Kevin asked, what about firmware updates going through the Home app? And if there are any vendors that already do this? And this is a little bit of a weird question, or a little weird answer, I guess, because Apple has, it seems, made changes to the Home app in recent updates that allow firmware updates to go through the Home app. Like, instead of having to kick you to a third-party app, that's all kept there inside of the Home app. No one really is taking advantage of that yet. And I've spoken off the record to a few HomeKit manufacturers, and they've heard radio silence from Apple on this feature. So it does seem like the tie-ins and integrations are there, but no one's really being able to use it yet. So even the ones that are going directly through the Home app, so we're looking at the Logitech is the prime example here. They develop their products like with Apple, like in tandem. So the Circle View doorbell and the Circle View indoor security camera both work with HSV, and there's no third-party app whatsoever, all done through the Home app. Those just automatically download the firmware updates in the background, like at night or something like that. There's no way to manually install or not install those firmware updates. So even those are being done through kind of the Home app, but they're really just being done through Logitech directly, and there's no manual way to do it. So right now, I don't know of anyone actually doing firmware updates through the Home app itself. They're just ones that do it in the background until Apple maybe decides to flip a switch or bring people on. Maybe we'll hear more about this at DubDub, a few months now. But I think that's my main thing. And from what I know about HomeKit too, Kevin had a kind of follow-up question, which was he wants to know if, what devices can be set up purely through the Home app and which ones require third-party applications. I think pretty much every home device can be set up exclusively through the Home app. You won't need the third-party apps for anything except for additional features like ones that aren't offered natively inside of HomeKit. So like Eve, for example, you can set those products up through Home, don't need the third-party app at all, but you do need it for the firmware updates, and if you want to see like that historic data. All that is being done through HomeKit, it's stored through HomeKit, like Eve's not doing anything special. The Home app just can't display that data. So they're basically just tying into HomeKit further and showing that through their own apps. But every HomeKit device is, I'm pretty sure as a requirement, needed to be able to set up through the Home app and not require that third-party app at all. So that way, if that company ever would go under, like those HomeKit devices are still going to continue to work. On top of that, though, I have seen weird devices like the Yale locks. I was recently setting up my smart delivery box, and I set it up through the Home app and everything, but then it was like, you need to configure this you need to add like further configuration in the Yale app. And then it sent me over there to, I think, set like the auto function, like auto lock or something like that. But that's a little bit of a weird product because it's like a smart delivery box that has a HomeKit lock in it. So you can see maybe why that would need some, extra customizations over there in the third-party app. But again, for the most part, everything can be set up through the Home app, controlled manually, everything the Home app, just firmware updates through third-party apps. You shouldn't need or require third-party apps for anything but bonus features or things that HomeKit doesn't allow. Like I'm looking at a picture of the VocaLink PureFlow Smart Air Purifier. You can't control the brightness of those lights through HomeKit. That's, again, something you have to do through the manufacturer app because Apple doesn't have like a night mode feature for HomeKit to dim the lights on the display. So random things like that, Apple hasn't baked in yet. But for the most part, everything's done through Home.
Yeah, and my only thing, too, is I've experienced some weird camera setup things. I'm not sure. I think it was the Eufy and maybe also an Aqara cam where adding it directly to the Home app just didn't work. Like I just had to add it to the app first and then like bind it and then it would show up.
Well, if they are like on a bridge, then yes. So essentially the bridge has to be added first, then the cameras would need to be added. But like I know like my G2H camera from Aqara that I added purely through HomeKit and I never added the Aqara app at all.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, listeners, let us know what you think about anything that we talked about. What HomeKit features maybe would you like to see come out at WWDC from Apple? You can tweet at Andrew and myself. Our Twitter handles are in the show notes. You can also send us an email there. Don't forget to give us a 5 to 30 star rating in Apple Podcasts. That would really help out the show. And don't forget to check out the Apple Insider Daily Podcast. Every day, get the top Apple headlines in just a few minutes, and the Apple Insider Podcast that comes out every Friday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.